Okay, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and we're at Circuit World here in Blue Ridge, Georgia. We have Rick and Jane and myself. Bruce had something he had to go do, so it's just the three of us.
I have an idea.
Just the three of us. There's a song. I have a song for everything. Go ahead.
I have the song for everything.
No, you don't.
What's your middle name?
Frederick.
Okay, so you're
Frederick.
BKP, MJD,
RFG.
We rhyme.
And you know what? And BAC.
And BAC. That is celestial.
Oh, my G.
Oh. That's really great.
Let's talk in acronyms this morning.
We all decided to go.
WTF.
We all decided to go off the meds this morning. Totally, we're running it. Okay, so
Well, we were ready to come on time, and we were primed, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah, all right, already. Well, the last guy, you know him. Let's leave it there. Okay, so what say you? Who wants to talk about what first? I mean, we have a president that went to Vietnam. We have a media that is not very obviously nice about his trip to Vietnam, but we have Michael Cohen testifying this week. We have the Congress saying, or the House saying that with, I think, about 12 Republicans, I looked at the list, maybe more or less, we have the House saying that the President's national emergency declaration is, null and void. So where do you want to go?
I got an idea.
There's an open
I'd like
plate.
to read something very quickly. It's very quick, and have you guys respond to it.
Wow, got it. I'm ready. We got a test here.
Mm-hmm.
Here are the words of Senator Sass's simple act. The Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act would have required that any healthcare practitioner present at the time of a birth exercise the same degree of professional skill, care, and diligence to preserve the life and health of a child as a reasonably diligent and conscious healthcare practitioner would render to any other child born alive at the same gestational age. The bill exempts the mother involved in the birth from prosecution. Also would have required practitioners to ensure that the child born alive is immediately transported and admitted to a hospital. It prescribed a possible term of imprisonment to 5 years for violations, not including penalties for first-degree murder that could have applied.
You want my take?
I want both of your takes.
Well, my first take,
it was voted down.
But my first take is, let's remember, all Democrats with the exception of three. It's Bob Casey Jr. from Pennsylvania. Manchin, Joe Manchin from West Virginia, and Doug Jones from Alabama. And I have my explanation why they voted.
Doug Jones, yeah.
Why they voted yes, but all of them voted no, every Democrat.
Every one of them.
And what is shocking to me, and let me say this, and I want to give you the floor. What is shocking to me is three women that are running for president of the United States. Gillibrand. I don't call her Kamala. I call her Carmel, with the color Carmel. I call her Carmel Harris. I'm
thinking of something better than Carmel in a minute.
Easy.
It's going to be good.
Okay. Kamala Harris, Gillibrand, and Klobuchar in Minnesota, the three of them voted no. Tell us from, I don't want to say a woman's standpoint, but I don't know where.
That's the perspective it needs to be told from.
Hello, you can say that. You should say it from a woman.
What say you?
Well, anyone who's been watching this show for a year or two know how I feel about it. I mean,
yes.
It absolutely breaks my heart, and I can hardly let my mind go through a visual of it. And I had a thought the other day when I was in college. I think it must have been the athletes, I don't know, but guys had to go take a health program, or you had to take, whatever. And the guys would have to come and watch childbirth. And I'm not kidding, it happens all over the country because the stories are the same. They blinking faint when they just see birthing a child. And so there's that. They appreciate what the woman is doing. They just can't see it. Now here's what I propose, which is really kind of off the wall, and I'm not really sure. But if we have all this abortion issue now with live birth, even with partial birth, every ninth grader ought to see an abortion, how they do it. Now, that, don't run off and say, if you think about that happening, do you know what would happen to abortion? It might come to a halt, because it is so heinous. It is murder, period. And if people actually saw, there are two ways, and I'm not going to go into it. Google it if you want to. I can't even say it.
Right.
And if you watch that and watch that child from the inside of the womb, which you can do after it's come out, we may not even have abortion anymore. And I think every Democrat, for sure, they should show the whole Congress that.
Well, I want to go back to what you're saying. Ben Sass put this on the floor,
Right.
so that senators would have to
hang their hat on it.
have to hang their hat on it and make a decision. And I think the thing here is a practitioner, okay, once a child is born, they're saying, I don't know how to put it, but other than this, they're saying once it's born, you're doing an abortion, didn't work out, child's born alive. You're to change immediately and to be a caregiving practitioner immediately.
And subscribe to the Hippocratic Oath.
Absolutely.
Right.
It is now your obligation to care for the child.
Because it's a human being.
But we know, and I know you can get with it, and I'll give you the floor and you take off. No, because we know, and I don't even like to say it, is we know there's graphic proof of born alive. There's graphic proof of dismantling. We've heard this, the horror stories of thrown in the garbage, right? Right, Jane? We've heard all that.
You've seen the undercover film of the
Project
group,
Veritas.
The Project Veritas takes
on
the
selling body parts.
Why did that go in an envelope?
But that being said, that piece of legislation, it's just it's chilling to think that once born, we could be okay with the murder. Now, I believe it's murder. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-life, period. Okay? But let's take it from a perspective of the person that says, okay, their argument is it's not a person.
Here.
Okay? It's not a person.
Oh, no, it's not a person.
Until it's born. Let's
okay, there are a lot of people.
Right, but let's take it.
He's just saying
let's
for
take
argument's
it
sake.
from that argument. It's not a person until it's born. And what about those people that say, okay, until it's born, it's not a baby, okay? And I think the president's tweet was brilliant because he did not say protect the unborn, which he believes. He said protect the baby. Remember that tweet? Because now, even if you don't believe up to birth it's a baby, it has been born. That is chilling. And I think it's chilling to most Americans. Do you not?
I can show you personal proof. When my two grandsons play their first t-ball game tomorrow, they were born several weeks premature, spent weeks in the NICU. Do I not think when they swing the bat tomorrow that those kids are not, that they weren't alive? Are they a figment of my imagination, or rational thinking people just can't correlate? How that goes on. I just can't function in my mind how that resonates with people. And I understand Sass's bill. There was a recommit side to it, where they made you send it back and you make them hang their hat on something. But let's just look at the practicality of it. Who in the heck says no? We're not going to vote for that. Politics aside,
I think it's stunning. And here's the other thing. And Jane, tell us where you feel on this, because my thought is, again, taking it from the point of, okay, I don't believe it's a baby till it's born. Okay, all right. If you take it from that point, if they will murder the baby, and that's just what it's got to be. Okay, if I just have to say this simple, from this side of the womb to this side. If they'll murder the baby, what will they not do?
Okay, that's what my point is here. So we think, how could this ever have come to a baby's out of the womb, doing fine, and they kill it? Right there, they kill it. They shoot saline or they do other things. That's abhorrent. What's coming next? How about this? And remember, we think this is beyond the pale, right? And it is beyond the pale.
Exactly.
What happens if in a year or two, AOC and all those other nitwits say, oh, if a mother's had a child for a couple of years and just decided, darn, it's too much work.
Wow.
Darn, I just wish I hadn't done this. I'm going to get a delayed abortion. Now, that sounds absurd, but not any more absurd to me than what they're doing with this live child.
Jane,
Think
I agree.
about it.
No, I agree
It's
100%.
unbelievable.
It sounds, because let me just say this for anybody on that side of the camera that says, all right, you just went too far. Now, that's not going to happen. Hey, where we're at now, you did not think was going to happen.
Exactly.
Right? Where you're at now, you did not think was going to happen.
You know, you can apply that to anything that comes out of a Democrat's mouth, including the Green New Deal. They say, oh, this is just for discussion's sake. You know what? We thought other things were going to be for discussion's sake, too.
That's how they work it.
And that's how it happens. You just bring it on slowly but surely and keep talking about it and keep talking about it and keep talking about it, and all of a sudden, bam,
Put it in
it's
movies,
in our lap.
Put it in songs.
All right, but here's the thing. Let's go back just a little more, because I like the discussion. Hey, yes, Vietnam's out there, but I think this is on the 2020 ballot, and I think this is something the American people are thinking about as the media, I call them the deep state media, as they want you to believe that everybody's talking about Vietnam and North Korea and the president, and everybody's talking about, you know, Michael Cohen. I don't know that I believe that. I think things like this we have to keep fresh and out front, and I think the American people are stunned by this, because for the argument, let's go with this, for the argument that people will say, oh, well, Ben Sasse just put that on the floor to try to box in Democrats. Although they voted no, that's not really what they want to happen. All right, let's say that. But folks, let's not forget, we have a governor that actually went on the radio station, a Democrat governor in Virginia, as Rush would say, Ralph Northern.
Northern.
Yeah, old Ralph Northern. But he went on a radio station and said he's a doctor. He's a physician. So would you say it would never happen? We have a physician that happens to be a Democrat, happens to be a governor, say we would deliver the baby. Now, this is chilling to me when I'm hearing a physician say they would deliver the baby, right?
Make
Keep the
sure
baby
it's comfortable.
Comfortable.
Resuscitate.
He did.
If the mother chose resuscitate, and I'm like,
And
After they talk about
and then
it.
we'll talk about it.
now that's got nothing to do with Ben Sasse. That's got something flat to do with, and this came from a physician. So Jane, exactly what I said. If they will do that, what will they not do?
We know what they won't do. For one thing, we have all this Russian collusion stuff, no evidence, no tape, no anything. Now go back to the undercover selling baby parts.
Project Veritas.
Project Veritas, we have that, we see that, we hear that, and what do they do with that? Nothing.
They debunk it
I
or
mean,
try.
I mean,
They arrest the people.
So that's the cloud we're in, and and I believe Trump is trying to pull us out of all that nonsense.
I think he is.
And
too.
if it's got to be opened up and exposed, or we are down the rabbit hole all the way under the South Pole.
Well, let's say this. Let's say this. Okay, I want to bring up, and I want to share this with you. I did this on the show. I did a segment. It's out there, and I want to share this. Kindly make it brief. But abortion. Somebody said to me the other day, "How did we get here? Okay, where we're at. How did we get here?" If you stop and think about it, Roe v. Wade. Okay, so what they sold the American people through marketing, okay, was, you know what? The majority of Americans don't believe in abortion, but we don't want women going into back alleys. We don't want the coat hanger. We don't want the underground facilities that we don't know have qualified people doing the abortions. So we were sold as the American people, not all of us, but it was sold to us, okay, Roe v. Wade, basically says they have the right, and, for medical reasons. If they're going to do it, let's make sure so that was our first sell, okay? And when I say there's a lot more to it, then we got up to like the late trimester, we got the medical industry into it. And what I mean by that, we did get bad doctors. And what we did is then they sold us, well, if there's a deformity, and if they do the amniocentesis, right, and that's the fluid, and there's a deformity, and it's something that we know the baby is going to maybe be born still dead or something, we want to be able to leave that to the mother. So they brought medical into it. You with me?
Totally.
All the way up to the birth. And they tried to explain it. And there's a portion of the country, and I'm not talking down to anybody, that went with every bit of that. Said, okay, we don't want women to have a back alley abortion. So we're okay with it. Okay, you know what? Leave it up to the doctor and their physician, and the physician sees deformities or whatever, a brain that's not forming or whatever. Okay, let's leave it up to the mother and the medical facility, right? But now we're up to the birth. And that's where I think the American people are saying, you know what, I was okay. Now the people that are pro-choice, even I'm going pro-choice, I think I was okay when you sold us this, and I think I was okay when you sold us that, and I'm not really pro-life, I am pro-choice, but I'm a little concerned we got here. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Let me take it.
Are you with me on that?
Yeah, and to the next degree, what I said earlier, this is the tried and true methodology, regardless of the situation. Apply it to the heroin abuse. Where were we? Well, it's going to happen anyway. So why don't we give these people some clean areas where they can shoot up? Well, we've already got them in the clean area shooting up. Why don't we just make it legal?
Now, why don't we provide the syringes?
That's right. You can take that. You can take that application
and put it anywhere.
Because that's how they sell this crap.
Guess what we have now? We have fentanyl, right?
Yeah.
It is the parallel to heroin. So they can't get heroin. Heroin maybe but it is the progression that went all the way through.
And that's exactly what they say. Well, we've got all this illegal fentanyl coming in and it's killing people. We need to provide them with the real deal because we know they're going to use it anyway.
Oh, my God. All right, so I'm trying to think of an analogy because, in my view, educating the people or letting them see it's a baby before it's born is almost impossible. The first thing is one of my really big soapbox things are when the woman says, I have choice over my body. Fine, don't get pregnant. That's when you made your choice. The baby in you is not your body. It is another person in another body. So you don't want to have the baby, don't get pregnant. And in this day and time, anybody can spend time handing that out at Planned Parenthood instead of telling people to go. They're not educating people on how to get pregnant, really. That's number one. So number two, this isn't the best analogy, but I'll come up with one. That's like saying a mother is driving her child's in the back seat, the mother's driving the child, it's in her car, right? So she's getting, and there's an accident coming, and she can see she can let it hit right where she is or right where her child is. Well, I got to take care of my body, so I'm going to drive up and let that car take an impact where that baby is because she's in my car, and I have to. That's not. But you know what I'm trying to say? These women who say my body, my choice, when there is a living human being in there, and the reason it's hard to speak to a lot of these people is they don't believe in God anymore. And when you believe in God, you look at things differently, and then that's kind of going by the wayside.
Well, you know what? You opened the subject.
You were right.
You opened the subject. I want to thank you for opening the subject because I do think with all the other noise, I call it noise out there, is people much like ourselves have to keep this out there, talk about it, and I think the American people are really concerned, and I think this is a big issue in 2020.
It will be a ballot issue, big time.
Exactly.
Now, fast forward to the House and the Senate in the state of Georgia, and finally, we've got Senator McDonald and Representative Setzler.
Yes, I actually have one article pulled up now.
Put forward a.
And who did you have for the Senate? What's his name? I forget. Senator. You got that with you?
I do.
Good.
It is.
All right, let me set that up.
Sorry,
Bruce
Thompson.
Let me set this up here.
Bruce Thompson.
And I know where Rick wants to go. We have the heartbeat bill, and we want to give a big shout out. I know I could speak for all of us here. We want to give a big shout out to Georgia State Senator Bruce Thompson on the Senate side, and Georgia State Representative Ed Setzler for House Bill 481 on the House side that have been introduced this week in the Georgia State Legislature, the heartbeat bill. Now, Georgia has 20 weeks, okay? You cannot get an abortion after 20 weeks in
That's
Georgia.
the current statute.
Current. They want to take it to, it's called the heartbeat bill, and generally, I call it the jelly on the belly, right? Usually,
Sonogram.
right. Usually you don't pick that up until 6 weeks.
7 to 12 is the range from everything I've read.
Well, okay, it can be as early as 6 weeks.
Absolutely.
That's what's in.
Sure.
So, but as early as 6 weeks, you can pick up a heart bill. The point is, the heartbeat bill
1.5
means
months.
you would not be able to have an abortion at any time after a physician can pick up a heartbeat. That being said, and we want to say that is on the floor. Now, next Thursday is called Crossover Day, okay, in the Georgia legislature. We're pretty positive if this can pass that the governor is going to sign it. He came out with something himself yesterday.
He said, bring it.
That's exactly right. Governor Brian Kemp said, bring it. So I'm excited to hear that Georgia's getting ready to pass the heartbeat bill. And my thing is, and I'm going to tell you, I want you to call the governor of Georgia, okay, and tell them you support the heartbeat bill. That's all you got to say. Call the House Speaker, David Rawson, tell him you support the heartbeat bill. Call the Lieutenant Governor's office, Jeff Duncan, and tell him you support the heartbeat bill. And then call your local senator in Georgia and your local representative. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to get all that.
No, that's
good.
perfect.
Great.
That's perfect.
He said, "Bring it on." Kemp
He said, "Bring it. I'll sign it."
Yeah. So it's up to our representative, our Speaker of the House, the Lieutenant Governor over in the Senate, the House. It's up to them to get it crossed over to each other and put it out there. And I'm happy because
this isn't plowing new ground. You said before there's 14 states already that
there's double
subscribe to
digits.
this?
There's double digit states that already have what's called the heartbeat bill.
Exactly.
Now I do know this. Another good reason not to like John Kasich, but the heartbeat.
Let
bill,
me get out my big old book and find where I put it at the end.
Schedule that right in there. But Ohio passed last year in their legislative session. They passed the heartbeat bill, but Kasich vetoed it.
Really, I did not read that.
Yeah, he vetoed it.
Now that's the biggest.
But the new governor of Ohio said he would sign it. So I'm pretty sure Ohio has it or is on the edge of having it. It is double digits. There's multiple states, and I do think the reason, that New York, Virginia, Vermont, and the others are ratcheting up the extreme murder bills that they're putting across is because I think that they feel the Supreme Court is going to send abortion back to the states. I don't think they're going to. I do not think the Supreme Court.
Could be true.
I don't think the Supreme Court's going to make abortion illegal.
That's what I agree with.
But I think the Supreme Court's going to send it back to the states.
Yeah. You decide what you want to do.
You decide. Okay.
Yep.
And I hate to say it like this, but they may say, but you have to have guidelines for facilities. You have to put in guidelines for facilities. You have to put in, requirements, certifications, whoever can work there. And you have to pass something as a state, and you have to offer somewhat, I think. And I think the heartbeat bill is the closest we're going to get to outlawing Roe v. Wade. I think right now, that's just my thought, which I'm not okay with it. I like to say not at all. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I do think heartbeat bill is as close as we're going to come right now. And I am going to take that for a win. What say you?
Yeah. Well, Alexandria OC, she has it all figured out. We just don't have babies. We shouldn't have children, and that will take care of the whole thing. We don't have the right to. I mean, think about what she said.
I'm not switching gears, but
how absurd is that?
Who is right? How long did she say we have left on Earth?
10 years. Oh, 12?
12. Who's the baseball player just signed a 13-year deal?
Yeah, right. Bryce Harper.
Darn.
Have you seen that going around?
No,
$380 million or something.
You've seen it, right, Josh? Yeah. Why did Bryce Harper sign a 13-year deal when we're all gone in 12?
Didn't he check with AOC, but he did that?
So anyhow,
my God.
it's not I want to move from the subject, but we do have, we're very short on time. I love the discussion. I don't care how long we take. But give me a quick Michael Cohen opinion on this week, your opinion.
He just made the case for the Republicans.
He made the case for the Republicans. If the Republicans
Made the
ever
case for the
have-
president.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me say this. I agree with you. He made the case for the Republican and the president if the Republicans and the president would ever have any favorable press.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does it get out? I mean, we do it, and we're going to keep doing it. I'm going to do it next week, and I know anytime you cover the show, you do it. But at the same time, we have to be the ones to get out. But
I mean, if you just read some of the articles, he went through all of the hot points and just deflated them.
right.
And now they're saying, well, you might not want to believe what he said because he is a liar. You can't have it both ways.
What say you?
Well, someone said Lanny Davis wrote the whole thing, and I think he did. He wrote the whole
Speaking of
thing for
liars.
all the Congress that asked the questions. He wrote
right,
the answers for him, and
Gave him to CNN.
and then
Early.
that euloquy or whatever he made, soliloquy, whatever he made at the end. I'm dedicated to telling the truth, unshaven. I thought I was going to throw up, and I'll tell you, his motivation is that he's embarrassed, number one, humiliated. He wanted to go be in the cabinet. Everyone knew it, and then he said no, of course. I mean, he's just humiliated himself. And you know, when you're a little kid, not I, but when some of the kids told fibs, they'd get deeper and deeper and deeper in the yeah, but, and that's what he's doing.
Okay,
now, the press,
You know what's going to kill him? The
press
fact
is
that
gonna-
it just came out that he was shopping a book, which was totally 180 degrees from what he was espousing in that soliloquy that
We
you
know he
said.
wanted a job. We know he lied. All the above. Can anybody give me a roundabout real quick? Now that's how old's Michael Cohen? Anybody remember? Right?
he's under 50, I think.
47.
All right, we're going to go 47. Here's what I think. Okay,
I know what you think.
he had
I don't.
He had Donald Trump's possible pardon, but you got to remember, Michael Cohen is a downtown Manhattan liberal Democrat.
That talks like the mafia.
Okay,
The thug.
He's
talks
actually
like that.
upset that Trump switched sides. Period. He's a liberal Democrat. Period. So he's not with Trump politically. That's number one. But the big thing is if he's 47, he's got 3.5 years, right? He's 52. Is he 52? All right. So he's 52. All right. So he's out at 55 and a half, right? 55 and a half. And Lanny Davis, which is a despicable person, Hillary Clinton, okay, Lanny Davis sits down with him and says, look, you're 52. At 55 and a half, you can get a full pardon from the next president because we guarantee you what we plan to do will remove Donald J. Trump. And whoever, we've got the power. Whoever the next president is on the Democrat, because it's going to be, this is what they're convincing Cohen, is Donald Trump's not getting reelected. His first election, as you can see by Cohen, right? Cohen, and what he's saying is with the Russians and WikiLeaks, they're still trying to prove that Donald Trump's not really legitimately elected. So they're telling Cohen, look, Cohen, we know he's not legitimately elected. We know the Russians did it. We know Hillary should have won. So we have no concern whatsoever. We're going to bring him down. You're going to help us. We're going to have all these investigations. So what we're offering you, not Mueller, the Democrats, the sleazy Clintons, and Lanny Davis.
And
So
by the
what
way,
we're offering you
here's the
is-
kicker, Michael. I won't charge you for the legal fees, but in 3.5 years or 3 years,
It
when
comes
you're
out of your
55 and a
deal.
half, you know what? You're going to go get a book deal. You're going to get a movie deal. You're going to be a star, and I want my cut then.
And I own
Well,
you.
wait a minute. So my thing
Want my
is
cut
they've offered him
That's perfect.
a full pardon, which would restore his law license and practice and everything with the new president. The second thing is he's going to have TV, movie, book. He's going to have that revenue. That's the second thing. And they've offered him 3 or 4 things. And hey, just all you got to do is 3.5 years, And I say he doesn't do the 3.5. I say he's not there full 3.5.
Right.
So my point is it's all set up. I think this week with him testifying, I think they asked him, hey, Tom Steyer, hey, did Tom Steyer paying these bills? Yeah, right. That's my say.
Yeah.
What's anything else on that? Because we gotta get out.
Well, just one comment on, and Jesse Waters keeps saying this over and over. They keep saying, well, he wrote a check to whoever she was, and Jesse said that's personal expense, even if he did. That's not from campaign finances. That's, so think about that.
It didn't come out of the campaign. They keep bragging about this check.
So
it came out
and
of
that's the big kicker.
The Trump Trust Fund. It did not come out of. If that check would have showed up and said, campaign to elect Donald J. Trump president with a signature to Michael Cohen, we got a problem. But it did not.
Yeah.
It did not. It came out of a fund, and there's nothing in the memo that says reimbursement for covering up porn star, okay? There's nothing in the memo there. It's a check, okay? The check could be paying off the balance of his retainer. The President of the United States could still have a personal attorney. All the above. So nothing happened there.
But that won't go on CNN.
Got to go to Vietnam and got to go there.
I thought we were going to winners and losers.
We got to, but I got to make a comment. What say you on the Vietnam, the North Korea? Really quick statement on North Korea.
You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Amen.
And he got up and went home, and I'm okay
exactly.
with that.
I'm totally okay with it.
Okay, and you?
Yeah, me too. That's got to do with my winners
Reagan.
and losers thing. Yeah,
right, okay.
Yeah, that man's
so
brilliant.
Winners and losers, Rick.
Okay. Losers are the 3 freshman reps, female, AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib, however you want to say it. They are formulating what the Democrat Party looks like going forward. And I think the old guard is absolutely shaken in their boots.
Really? Of the Democrats?
Of these 3 liberal types.
Shaken, the old guard against these.
And they each had their problems during the week. AOC got caught eating a hamburger or something like that. And one of them called out Meadows for being a racist. And Omar has sided with, gone anti-West on the Venezuela deal. She keeps stepping in her mess kit. I think they're absolutely despicable, and I think they've got the old guard shaking in their boots as to, oh my God, we can't be perceived as what these people are representing as Democrats. I know I'm a little bit off the wall.
You're trying to put it together.
Yeah. My winner, those 3 are my losers for the week collectively, individually and collectively. My winner of the week, and this is killing me to do this, folks. My winner of the week is that guy right there.
Yay!
I love it when I'm winner.
I wish I'd thought of that.
We went down together, Bruce and I and Brian this week to the under the Gold Dome to visit the speaker. Brian had some work to do down there. I've never been down there. My wife has been there with the kids on field trips. The time went so fast, I was mesmerized at all the activity going on. And we went down there on a day where there was a lot of stuff going on. There were 2 very important bills, one Senate, one House bill that passed. We got to watch that. We got to sit in the gallery and watch the discussion on voting and about Medicaid
waivers.
Medicaid waivers from the Senate side. They both passed. They'll cross over now. But what I want to make him the winner about is Brian single-handedly went in and literally took over a news conference. We got a guy by the name of Ed Clark out there. David Clark. Sorry, Ed. David Clark went out there and put a resolution out that the speaker should step down without really doing his homework. Brian took him to task, 15 questions answered. Brian got 12 of them, I think. You can watch it on YouTube. It's up there, the whole interview. The mainstream media was there. the same guys that did the hit piece on the speaker from CBS, and that would be Tony Thomas. They got in a couple of softball questions, but for the most part, he was literally taken apart and was literally doing the hamada 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 routine. And then we immediately went into the speaker's office with big Cheshire Cat grins on our faces when these guys were coming out, marched in there with David and did a 45-minute interview, which in my estimation was absolutely brilliant. So that's why you're the winner.
Thank you. I appreciate all that. I enjoyed the
Well
day.
deserved.
The three of us had a lot of fun. Let me just say this. Bruce and Rick have earned, say it that way, the next trip. Bruce's navigational skills are awesome. He knows where the elevator's at and the bathroom. So he was
Not necessarily in that order.
He knows. He knew where the elevator, bathroom. I said, "Whoa, you're a keeper." And this guy, man, can he push the button? Rick, push the button. Give me the high sign. It's going. So they're keepers. Thank you very much. We had a lot of fun. Got to move. Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't care. Before my winners and losers, everyone, y'all have got to go online and look up these memes. Here's one of the funniest memes in the world. It's Cortez, AOC. She's saying, "Nothing is made in America anymore. I just bought a new car and it said built-in antenna. I don't even know where that place is." Isn't that funny? I thought it was funny. There are a whole bunch more. One more. I put my baked potato in the microwave.
I got a whole list of these.
No, this is
Say it again.
I put my baked potato in the microwave, and I pushed the pizza button. The bell went off. I opened the microwave, and it was still a baked potato. That's funny, right? There's a whole bunch of them.
She's playing in the Catskills this week. she's doing a full 40 minutes in the Catskills this week.
I don't get no respect.
Yeah, right.
Take my wife, please.
I told my wife, greet me at the door with a negligee. She did, but she was coming home.
This is how they end. Do you have it?
Okay,
I told you we made a deal. We're all up in meds.
My losers are Kim Jong and the whole North Korean country. Poor people. They could have had a great thing. I mean, they're this big. What do they think? I mean, they should have Trump looking over them, and I think he would. The winners are us, the American people, because he didn't go in there like all these other nitwit presidents and sign a bull crap bill. He said, "I'm not signing," like the Paris Accord, like the environmental. He said, "This is not what we want." And he knew he was going to get blasted for it. He had the guts to turn around. So we're the winners for him turning around and coming home. I'm glad they didn't even eat the lunch.
Folks, we got to go.
Am I going to get paid?
But you know what was funny is they didn't
Can I
eat
write
the
this
lunch.
lunch off? We didn't
But
eat
the
it.
media made a big deal showing the picture of the table set all day long.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we got to go. But I do want to say this. I've only had one opportunity, and one more time in my life. It's not bucket list, but it is. I want to take a train trip across the country because I've had one opportunity years ago to take a train trip, and I just really enjoy traveling by train. I travel by plane when I want to be there, in 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I love trains.
I don't want to ever travel by bus again, and hopefully never. But I like the train, right? Mm-hmm. So I gotta say, hey, Kim, you got to spend 5.5 days on the train, 2.5 from North Korea over to Vietnam. 2.5 days back on your bullet train that goes 18 miles an hour.
I love that.
Now, you denuke North Korea, we're going to throw you the train. We're going to make the deal. We're going to put the train in it. And it's going to move up from 18 miles an hour. We'll get you up to like 65. Okay? You can roll that train. Sorry, folks. Didn't happen. Nothing to see here. Donald J. Trump said, "I will not accept anything but total denuclearization." His word is his word. I don't care if it's in Vietnam. I don't care where he's at in the United States of America. When Donald J. Trump says, boom, that's what happens. And I'll tell you what, we're going to build the wall. And if our Congress will pass the new trade agreement, Mexico will actually pay for the wall. They just don't want to admit it or report it to you. I'm going to take a break. And when I get back, it's time for North Georgia Senior Living with Jesse Barton. Take us out of here, Josh.